Hi everybody. For my last video, I'm going to be talking about the partnership that you may not know exists between Oklahoma State University and Dong Nai University. It is a higher education partnership that I was involved in when we were doing the global strategy part of this class. Kind of hit me that some of the things we were talking about, how it pertained. But this is something that is going to make Oklahoma State a lot of money, and I kind of want to conceptualize how it happened and related to the global strategy topic that we've talked about. So I thought there were three different ways to approach this, and it was the cage model, industry attractiveness, and differentiation. Because we do have a very powerful business relationship with a university in Vietnam now. So how did this happen? We had a faculty member from Dong Nai University need to get their PhD for credentialing purposes. More personal than professional, he wanted his PhD. You don't need a PhD to be a professor in Vietnam. So he came over here, his name's Ki Lee. Performance was off the charts, better than anybody in the higher education program in years. So we approached him about starting a collaborative partnership with his university because we saw an opportunity for all of his faculty colleagues to come here and come to us because our higher education doctoral program has been on a major decline here. So what was interesting is I felt that we both had industry attractiveness. We had an untapped market in which we could research. I've been very successful in my 2 years here in the fact that I do Vietnamese research. Nobody else does it. And if you look in business, sociology, education, you're not going to find much in terms of research in Vietnam. You'll find more in Singapore, Thailand, China. So it's an untapped market, and we saw this as a way to get in. And we also saw tuition dollars that were available to us, and then, to be blunt, to save our program with the declining enrollment. This isn't my program, by the way. This is the higher ed program. More on that later. For them, they would get degrees from the United States with a U.S. name on it, and it would improve their standing in Asia, as Vietnam has a lot of pressure right now to improve the educational attainment of its citizens. So we had to send ambassadors over to do this. We couldn't just start. There's me, there's my wife, there's Key, there's our doctoral student, there's the vice president, there is, that's Tuan. Tuan is their international ambassador. That's Kathy Curry, she's faculty in ed leadership, and that's her husband Monty. We were the first Americans ever to teach at Dong Nai University. What was interesting is we weren't higher education faculty. None of the higher ed people wanted to go over there. So because of that, we had to offer them something to get them to be enticed to come over here, which actually they're all currently over here right now. My wife is the one that's coordinating what they're doing in the United States right now. So we did a professional development program for them for a week and a half that went over training for principals in preschool and kindergarten. We had to show them that we were committed to them in order to get them committed to us. So we couldn't just say, let's do a partnership. The cultural differences between us meant that we had to reach out, something completely unrelated to what they wanted, but we could give them a service, then they would buy into our service. So Dong Nai could have gone anywhere for the degree options, but they chose to come to us because we agreed to come to them. We have the power in this, we have supplier power in this relationship because we came to them and we're going to be willing to come to them and also to accept their students, which helps us, but we're not going to openly admit that we're helping their students so that our enrollment stays afloat in the higher ed program. We're not going to say that. They could go elsewhere to get their degrees, but we were the ones that opened the door for them. So I looked at the cage model. And I found that to be interesting because I thought cultural, administrative, geographic, and economic distance were important for this relationship. So I'll let you take a second to look at that, and then I'll comment on that. So first, the cultural distance is important. Only 5% of individuals at their university speak English, and 0% of us speak Vietnamese. We have a different commitment to school and to procedures. The administrative distance were government policies. How are the degrees going to be honored? Will they be accepted? And Vietnam is very weak in computers and technology. We have a tremendous advantage over them in that respect. Geographic distance, halfway around the world takes 2 travel days to get there. It is a lot. Also, I think climate difference is important to mention. Differences in climate at different points of the year make a big difference because when it storms, they have power outages, and we had to address for that. there are differences in student and faculty income over in Vietnam and credentials. To be a professor in Vietnam, a fully tenured professor at an elite university there, all you need is a master's degree. So the doctorate kind of sweetens the deal for them, but their highest level of credential was a master's degree. Obviously, there are differences in available resources. They're not high on research, they're more high on teaching and in teaching strategies. So the cultural distance, it impacted the quality of education that was received because, in all honesty, sometimes I don't know if people were understanding what I was saying. Times and deadlines limit the learning that could take place. If we're only there for a week, we have to fit everything into a week. The administrative distance, what I view as a graduate degree, is different than what the Vietnamese view. A bachelor's degree in Vietnam is a graduate degree. And over here, obviously, it's not. You can't fix the technology disconnect for distance learning, and I tried. I went over there. This was probably the one piece that Lou Sabino will leave on Oklahoma State when I go to Stetson, was the fact that I tried with the technology, it just didn't work. Geographic distance, when we can get over there to teach, we're able to. So they have to work around our schedules, and they have to work whenever we're able to come. Climate and lack of infrastructure leads to class being canceled. You can't control when the planes get there, and you also can't control if the internet's down. So economic distance, we have to limit what we do in terms of program length because of cost. That's a big idea because we can offer a 42 credit master's degree. We have to go in there, offer a 30 credit master's degree, and just be done with it because we're only going to be able to get essentially 10 faculty members, maybe 5 different times to come over there, and they'll come over here every summer. So looking at it logistically, 6 classes will be over there and 4 will be over here. The other problem of economic distance is some of the faculty that teach those classes don't want to do it. I'm leaving Oklahoma State, but there's a high possibility that I'm going to be subcontracted out over the summer to go over to Vietnam and teach because I was affiliated with there. So I might not exactly meet what they're looking for in higher ed, but I can put an ed leadership spin on it. So that's my second video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.